I've asked certain companies, but they won't do it. But what you could do is you can just sell that part of that your salary and put it into BTC, and obviously keep all the money you need for your expenses, because you'll have to pay in dollars at some point, so you don't want to go back and forth. To another podcast of AI Chat. We have some new things to talk about today, so hopefully you enjoy them. Subscribe, please, to the YouTube channel. We're trying to grow it. Like and hit the bell notification. So this topic was going to cover something I think is really interesting, and it kind of hit me because I'd written about this in my book that I wrote 5 years ago, and it was something that I thought was really compelling. But I now was able to visit a new website which kind of put this into either more compelling light. So can you see my screen?
Yep, let me add you. You're there.
Okay, and your audio is a bit low. I'm not sure.
How's that?
Yep, much better. So here's part of my book. It's called The Walking Working Wallet, and talks about the perpetual redistribution of wealth, because they've done some experiments and studies that, you know how some people say, tax the rich, give the money to the poor. And they did a study where basically, if you did that within 10 years, if you took all the wealth from everybody and shared it back evenly to every person, within 10 years, you'll see that uneven distribution of wealth again. So this chart, I did it to compare gold to the fiat currency, which we call the US dollar. And I took different things like the price of gold. Average cost of a car was $2,750. Average cost of a new home was $14,250. Woo! And what I did then, because I wrote the book in 2019, is I took prices then, and looking back at this, I can't believe within 5 years the price has gone up from 226 to 400,000. And gold actually was 1580 then, and now it's 2000. So based on these terms, I did some calculations, and the price of your house today, if you were paid in gold and only spent gold, would be the same. So your average house would have been 14,000. Sounds crazy, but I'll show you a website where it plots everything. And so this is a compelling reason to say I need to keep my assets or maintain my purchasing power in something other than the fiat currencies of the world.
You know what? I'm only gonna accept payment in gold and digital gold, aka Bitcoin, from now on. That is what?
Well, this is what you can do, because most companies, I've asked certain companies, but they won't do it. But what you could do is you can just sell that part of that your salary and put it into BTC, and obviously keep all the money you need for your expenses, because you'll have to pay in dollars at some point, so you don't want to go back and forth. So that's
Fair enough.
one.
Yeah, you could convert, say, 50%, and then go from there.
So let me share something else that's kind of along this. We'll do a video, and I'll do the video first, and then I'll take you to the chart to show you, or the graph. It's not a chart. So let me present again. Window. So can you see Sarah?
Yes, we've got Sarah. Yeah.
Okay. And what I did was I recorded this video with my voice, but I then took it off and replaced it with Sarah. And so
that's cheeky.
I think I'm going to be on my podcast in the future as an avatar, so I can, when I talk, it's going to have my avatar and it'll be a different voice. But
I mean, the hilarious thing there is, one, it's totally feasible now. I mean, you link 2-3 tools with an API, and boom, you're like, you could even. Have you seen any of the Mission Impossible movies, like the newer ones?
Not the new ones.
Okay, but have you seen any of the ones where they put the mask? Like
yeah.
Okay. Oh, and they have the voice, right? So they're able to synthesize the person they're impersonating, their voice with some high tech secret technology, and get their facial mask. I mean, you're basically doing the same thing on video online, deep faking yourself
Yep.
as some other persona.
Okay, so let me play this, and then we'll go to the actual chart or the website.
My name is Sarah, and I'm a researcher at NTI Blockchain. So the question is, should I sell my real estate and buy Bitcoin? And after discovering the site, which is called Price, I saw something that struck me as so persuasive in the sense that all your assets should be in Bitcoin and nothing else. And we'll go through some examples. So, right now, there's a toggle switch between sats, which is Satoshis. And you can see the US dollar is 2,512 Satoshis.
Can you try to upscale?
But we'll do a comparison with SATs.
Quality?
And if we go to the US dollar, and even like the United States medium home prices, okay? Your assets in Bitcoin, in other words, preserving your buying power, the house today would be 57% cheaper. Let that sink in. So what we'll do is we'll just talk about like the US dollar. We can click on this. And again, I'm going to switch it off so it's in Satoshi. No, Bitcoin, not Satoshis. I'm going to go to all, which actually selects the full history of Bitcoin. So it's going to compare the US dollar to Bitcoin. So we go back here to October 31, 2011. The price of one Bitcoin was $0.2929. Okay. And all we need to do is go follow the graph. And actually, you'll notice here that it's got no value. It's 0 because it's a fraction. That's odd. January the 8th, 2024. So I guess I do have to switch it to Satoshis, okay? Because price has gone to such a small fraction of Bitcoin that it doesn't even show up. So good for that demonstration. And maybe let's go back and let's do it on real estate because that is a little bit different. So we go to the medium new house in the United States. We'll switch that to Bitcoin. We'll go all, which we'll select from the beginning of Bitcoin. So we can go here to say, okay, at this point, you'd have to spend $64,354 to buy an average home. So everything's priced in Bitcoin. Remember that, okay? So keep that number in mind over 64,000. And let's go to today, 10.5 Bitcoin. So if you think about it, if you held just Bitcoin, no dollars. Okay, your house would be a fraction of what it would cost back in 2011. And so let's go back and look at the general picture. Let's get rid of Satyashis. And so if you look at the picture of this home, it is 77% cheaper today if you are holding Bitcoin as your primary buying power. And obviously, if you look at US dollar this year, Bitcoin is not done well. So you can see that actually Bitcoin is down 10% compared to the US dollar, but also up 91% in a 5-year period. So you answer the question, should I be holding on to other assets like real estate, dollars, gold? Look at all the percentages of all the different assets S&P 500, all the different currencies in the world. I wonder if they have Argentina. So gold 83%, palladium 91%, crude oil 84%, not a single one of them. Eggs 79%. So does it make sense to get paid in Bitcoin or convert all your income into Bitcoin and use it to buy things? I don't know. You tell me. Why don't you? Hit the subscribe button, get notified, and put in the comments. What do you think? Thank you. See you next time. And thank you for listening to Block University.
So I think that was pretty cool.
I like the substitute teacher.
Well, she sounds a lot better than I do. I hate to say that. So I know that was kind of quick to follow, but think about it, okay? Who in their right mind would want to keep their assets in the fiat currency? And then people say, oh no, we need to do real estate. All the wealthy people have real estate.
Just look at that segment from your book which you published, I believe, in 2019, right? So we're almost 5 years in the future now from even that analysis. And like you may have already stated, what was it, 228 or 223,000? The average price of a house to 2024, it's at least 400,000. So we've almost doubled. But the price of that asset, the price of having a house, had you purchased it or would you purchase it if you were to purchase it in Bitcoin, has gone down dramatically.
Yeah, so I'm taking a different perspective now because, I know that Bitcoin is volatile and it can drop, 40, 50%. But in the long run, none of the assets I see make any sense. Eggs, gold, jewelry, whatever you look at, it's the same result. So I I think this has had a bigger impact on me now after looking at my book and then looking at the prices now. And by the way, I did. I forgot the name of the guy. He's a economist in Canada, and he said, "Look, you need to preserve your buying power." And he says, "I don't care how much money they print because it doesn't affect me." Think of the impact of that. Saying that the government is printing. Well, it's not the government. It's a private entity called the Federal Reserve, controlled and owned by 6 banks. Is if they decide to be irrational and print money and devaluate your buying power and your earning power, it won't affect you if your assets are not in the fiat currency. And forget about the US, which is about 10%. And I know the economists say it's more like 3%, 3.5. I don't buy it. But then you've got countries like Turkey, who it's a 60% inflation. Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Lebanon. So here's, can you see the screen of the website?
Yeah, I've got you.
So remember, it's priced in Bitcoin 21. I don't know why he calls it 21. Maybe that's when he started it. And you'll notice that there's a strange symbol after the number, and that's the Satoshi. Yeah.
Or
So there's
Satyoshi, as Sarah called it.
yeah, and there's 100 million Satoshi, 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin, and eventually when Bitcoin, yeah. So what will happen is eventually when Bitcoin reaches $1 million, make more sense to say, here's 100 Satoshis, and I actually own the domain stashing sats, which is a term used in the Bitcoin community, which is basically you should accumulate Satoshis. So let's go down the list here and say, okay, we want to look at, forget about gold. So every time you see a green here, that means that Bitcoin has lost its value.
One clarification though. So a Satoshi though is not a divisible unit. You only are able to interact in whole. Like it would be the smallest unit. It would be like the cent to the dollar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that price could okay. We can see that price be really just like Bitcoin fluctuating.
Yeah, and it's the smallest denominator, like you said, the cent. I mean, you can't give somebody half a cent unless you cut it in half. I mean,
it might be worth more now as scrap metal.
Yeah, that's why they stopped making the silver coins, silver dollars, because the actual value of the coin in silver was worth more than the quarter or the dollar.
Than the denomination.
Yeah. So they thought, oh, we're selling this dollar and it costs $5 to make. So anyway, the US dollar has lost 97% of its value since its inception in 1907.
Is it not more by now in the last 2-3 years?
Oh yeah. Well, by the way, none of this constitutes financial advice or any kind of other advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes. So let's just go down this list and see something. So yeah, all the greens saying that this year, so far in the last 24 days, Bitcoin has dropped, and that's why you see it green. But if you look to the right, the 5-year, and
91%. It's very similarly tracking.
Yeah, everything. And then you go to gold, silver, palladium, you go to energy, oil. So somebody says, you know what? I'm going to invest in oil, in crude oil. And I say, okay. So 5 years, it's lost 84% of its value compared to Bitcoin. Propane, beef, eggs, soybeans, lumber. Oh, lumber looks like it's really continuously lost its value against Bitcoin. Coffee, cotton, livestock. I mean, all of them are the same, aren't they? So let's go Dow Jones, S&P 500. well, I guess in a 3-year period, the S&P 500 has done better. Over 5 years, it's lost 83. So let's go back to United States medium new home. And again, what I'll do is I'm going to select all, which goes back to 2011, and I'm going to switch the sats off. So it's in Bitcoin, and we can start here and say, okay, this is November 1st, 2011. It was 64,354 Bitcoin. That's how much you had to pay in Bitcoin that year, that month, for a brand new medium priced home. So as you go along this graph, you'll see it's getting less. 700. Now it's 150, and then all of a sudden we go to $10. Okay,
10 Bitcoin.
Sorry, 10 Bitcoin to buy a brand new home.
$10. Hey, let me buy the whole street.
Okay, so guys, I have to let's wrap it up, and hopefully you enjoyed this. But go to this website and really look at it and think to yourself, because the main question on the video I did was, should you sell your real estate and buy Bitcoin? And based on this, I'd be running to get my broker to list my properties.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, and see you on the next one. Subscribe, get notified, and hit the button and like.
The like button.
Muchas gracias. And in Greek, it's Ευχαριστώ πολύ. So, whichever language you want to say it, it's a language of love.
All right. Take care.